Let me guess. You prepared for a presentation. You know exactly what you want to say. You feel confident about yourself and you're like, I got this. But the moment you stand in front of your audience, your mind goes blank. You lose your confidence, you lose all your thoughts, and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so embarrassed. Oh my gosh, I prepared so well for this. Why am I such a loser? Your hands start shaking and you're like, come on, stop, not now. And you start speaking too fast, and somehow you sound nothing like you did when you practiced by yourself. But honestly, a lot of people feel that, so you're not alone. If you're new to my channel, my name is Dr. Ima, and I'm a university professor. And I can tell you that I've spent so many years speaking in front of large classrooms, being invited to conferences, speaking in academic events as well. But I can tell you that I was not born a confident speaker. I'm going to be honest with you today, like I always am. The confidence that I have today didn't happen overnight. It came and it happened after years of practice, after years of making mistakes and repeating them. After feeling embarrassed so many times when trying to speak in public, I didn't even know what we mean by the art of public speaking or the practical tips and techniques that I should apply in order to speak confidently in front of a large audience. And I am aware that so many of you still struggle with public speaking. And today I'm going to share with you 5 powerful tips that completely changed the way I communicate. Listen to me. I learned these tips after years and years of experience, but today I am handing them to you on a silver plate because the best part about these tips is that you don't have to wait so many years to apply them, but you can apply them the very next time you're asked to give a presentation, or you need to defend your thesis, or you're asked to introduce yourself in front of a group. So if you want to stop freezing, overthinking a lot, and start speaking with more confidence, then stay with me until the end of this video. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever memorized your presentation perfectly and entirely? Like you practiced it 10 or 20 times and now you learned every single sentence by heart and you don't even need to look at your notes anymore. Okay, so you feel confident because you memorized the whole entire presentation. Then the moment you start speaking in front of this large, scary audience, let's say that you forget one single line. All of a sudden, you forget about everything else that comes after that one line, okay? Has that happened to you before? If it has, you're not bad at public speaking. The problem is you prepared the wrong way. The problem is some people think that giving a presentation is like acting in a movie, meaning that every single word needs to be perfect and well rehearsed. Bro, you're not acting in The Odyssey. You're not acting in The Dark Knight. I'm just mentioning these movies because I'm a big fan of Christopher Nolan's movies, but you don't have to be acting because your brain naturally doesn't work like that. There is a name for this in psychology and it's called recall under pressure. It means that when we try to retrieve information and ideas that we rehearsed before under pressure or when we're feeling anxious, then our memory becomes overloaded. So instead of helping us remember the exact wording, anxiety kind of takes over and stops our chain of thought. Here's what I do before every lecture. I write the main points that I'm going to discuss, okay? In an organized way, of course, like introduction, problem, solution, example, conclusion. Then I address each point individually and try to explain it in my own words. And when I do this, even if I forget one sentence, nothing happens. I don't panic. I don't feel embarrassed. No, because I haven't forgotten the idea or what I want to talk about, okay? And this is called retrieval by meaning rather than retrieval by wording, because your brain naturally remembers concepts better than exact sentences. Don't worry, I'm going to give you a challenge that will help you prepare better for presentations, okay? The next time you're preparing a presentation, replace those long paragraphs that you're writing with only keywords. Then practice using only those keywords. Only those keywords. Please try not to write long, boring paragraphs. At first, it will feel very uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie to you, but by the third or fourth time you're practicing, you will sound like you're having more of a conversation, a natural conversation, instead of reading a script. And trust me, that's exactly what your audience wants. It's the first 30 seconds, which makes all the difference and which captivates your audience and sets the tone for your entire presentation. Just think about it and use your logic with me. Have you ever noticed that before you start speaking, you feel quite nervous and stressed compared to 1 minute later? Yes, you have. I have too. Don't worry. That's because when you begin, usually your brain starts asking a lot of questions like, what if I forget this one sentence? What if they give me judgmental looks? What if I don't like the sound of my voice? Something interesting happens when you start talking. Your breathing begins to settle because now you're no longer breathing heavily like before. We could literally hear your breathing from a distance and it's annoying. I'm just joking. Then you start realizing, I'm actually doing okay. You know why? It's because your body is adjusting to the new situation, to this new scary situation, and your initial stress response is settling as well as you continue speaking. And that is why the beginning of a presentation is always the hardest compared to the middle or the ending. That's why practice your opening much more than the rest. You should know exactly how you'll walk to the front, where you'll stand, how you will greet your audience, your first sentence, your second sentence, and also how you will transition from one idea to the next in those 30 seconds. Once you master those first 30 seconds, they become automatic. They become natural. I actually do this myself before every lecture, every conference, every academic event. I need to know how I'm going to start because that helps me start with so much confidence. Now, here's a challenge for you again. I know you're like, oh my gosh, she's given us a lot of challenges. Yes, because I want you to practice with me, guys. So the next time you have a presentation, do not practice the whole talk 10 times. Just practice the first 30 seconds 10 times. Then practice the rest only for 2 or 3 times, and you'll be surprised by how much calmer you feel at the beginning of your presentation, because sometimes confidence doesn't come from knowing the whole presentation, but it comes from navigating through the beginning of a presentation. Good morning, guys. I hope you're doing great. Today's presentation is... Bro, stop speaking too fast. You are speaking too fast, even if you don't think you are. When you're nervous, people often tell you, slow down. Give us some time to reflect on your ideas. Slow down, please. And you're like, I'm actually speaking slowly. No, you're not. I'm going to explain to you what's happening here. So when you're feeling anxious, your brain speeds up, so your thoughts start racing as well. And your mouth tries to catch up with everything that's happening. This is what we call your body's fight or flight response. Your adrenaline increases. And bro, you're not being chased by a lion. So please just slow down. It's just a presentation. But your audience's brain is not speeding up, right? They are listening to you at a normal speed. So every time you rush, they will feel it. And you will make it harder for them to keep up with you. And you will lose your audience. And they will stop listening, which is embarrassing, right? You've worked so hard on this presentation, then you lose them just like that. No. I cannot allow this. Here is why slowing down is much better for you. First, it's because you give your audience enough time to reflect on what you say and understand you more easily. And second, you give yourself the opportunity to think about what you want to say next. And that will help you look and sound more confident immediately. Now, here is one of my favorite exercises. Open the voice recorder on your phone. Then read one paragraph as you normally would. Then read the same paragraph again as if you're teaching it to someone who's learning English. That will help you slow down, speak more naturally, and especially pause between ideas and pronounce each word more clearly. Now compare the two recordings. The second recording sounds much better, honestly, but it's not because you changed your accent or your vocabulary, but it's because you gave your audience enough time to understand you and reflect on what you say. And always remember that confidence comes from how easy you make it for other people to understand you. Have you ever met someone who walked into a room and before they even said a single word, they already looked very confident? Now think about the opposite. Someone walks in looking down, their shoulders are rounded, their arms are crossed, they're avoiding eye contact. And before they even introduce themselves to you, your brain already formed an impression about them. That's because communication doesn't start when you speak. It starts the moment your audience sees you. Public speaking is all about your posture, your facial expressions, your eye contact, your hand gestures, because they are all communicating something long before your first sentence. But good body language is not about moving all the time. No. In fact, a lot of people make the same mistake of overdoing it, They keep pacing around the room, their hands never stop moving, and that doesn't make you look confident, honestly. It only makes your audience focus more on your movements rather than your message. So here are 4 things I recommend. First, stand tall. You don't need to stand like a soldier. No, just keep your shoulders relaxed, your back straight, your feet firmly on the ground, because a better posture immediately makes you look calmer and it gives you better control of your breathing. Second, move your hands with purpose, okay? Don't force gestures. If your hands move naturally while you're explaining an idea, let them be free. If you don't know what to do with your hands, then let them rest by your sides comfortably. It's okay, because natural movements will always look more confident than rehearsed or forced ones. Third, make eye contact, but don't stare. A mistake I often see is people only looking at their slides, or only at one person they know, trust, or like because it's their crush, I don't know. Instead, look at one person for one complete thought. Then when you want to transition to the next thought, look at someone else, okay? Because this makes you feel like you're having small conversations with different people and connecting with different people instead of speaking to a crowd. Finally, smile when it feels natural. You don't need to smile throughout the whole presentation. No, definitely not. But starting your presentation with a natural, soft smile helps you appear more approachable, and it also helps you relax even more. Here is a simple challenge. The next time you record yourself before a presentation, do not listen to the sound. Mute the sound, okay? Just focus completely on your body language. Ask yourself this question: if I couldn't hear myself speaking, will I still look confident? Because sometimes your body tells a completely different story than your words. Another thing people often overlook is what they wear. Now, I'm not saying you need expensive clothes or designer brands. Absolutely not. But your clothing sends a message before you even open your mouth. So ask yourself, does what I'm wearing help people focus on the message or distract them from it? So please, I'm begging you, avoid that zebra print or leopard print in your presentations. I also recommend wearing colors that make you feel comfortable and confident in your skin. For me personally, I always go for black color because it gives me this aura and this feeling of like, I can do it all, I got this, I can conquer this world. Honestly, my advice is to always go for darker colors like navy blue, dark gray, or black because they often project professionalism and authority. Lighter colors are fine as well if you want to appear more approachable and friendly, because there are some people who don't like dark colors. You guys are weird, but it's okay. I would be very intentional with bright colors though, because if they are too bold, they might be the first thing your audience notices before your message. Imagine you're giving a presentation, everything is going well, then suddenly you mispronounce a word or you forget one sentence. What do most people do usually in this situation? They stop. They start apologizing. They're like, sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. Can I start again? Bro, why are you apologizing to me? You didn't hurt me in any way. Did your audience know that you actually made a mistake? The answer is usually no. Your audience don't have your script. They don't know the exact sentence you plan to say. The moment you apologize and you point out your mistake, you've just turned one small mistake into two. The first mistake was forgetting your sentence, which is perfectly fine. Everyone does from time to time. But the second mistake is even worse, because now you're drawing everyone's attention to that small, tiny mistake. Listen to me, professional speakers make mistakes all the time. They forget sentences, they forget words, they lose their chain of thought. Sometimes they even skip a whole entire point. The difference is they keep going, they pause, they take a breath, then they continue, because most people don't even notice. So the next time you lose your place, it's okay, don't panic. Take a sip of your coffee or your water. Go back to your notes and look at them. It's okay. Then continue as if nothing happened. It's okay. Do not apologize to me. I don't need your apology. Just remember one sentence. Don't let one mistake become two. The best speakers aren't the ones who never make mistakes, but the best speakers are the ones who make mistakes and know how to recover from them as if nothing happened. Before we finish, I want you to remember something. Confident speakers aren't born. Confident speakers are built, because every confident speaker you see today was once very nervous, just like you. But the difference is that they kept practicing, they kept learning tips and techniques in order to improve their public speaking skills. It is a skill that anyone can build, okay? So I count on you to implement the tips that I've shared with you in this video. Actually, even 1 or 2 tips can be enough in your next presentation. Now, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's the biggest challenge you face when speaking in public? If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.